Hey, yo, folks, it is Friday. It is 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are ready for the Slightly Buzzed show. Today is going to be about Delphi, about Rick Allen. Justice for Rick Allen, justice for Abby and Libby, and the rally for rights, the rally for Rick, that will take place outside the courthouse in Indianapolis on September 21st. So that, and also we are going to go all the way back to 2017 and talk about what the investigators presented to us that we now know was a lie. Welcome to the show.
Down in the shadows where the courthouse stands, a gavel cracks a fading hands. Judge Gould, they whisper with a crooked grin, played the game where justice don't win. Free Rick Allen, let him go. Chains on the innocent, don't you know? When the truth's been buried and the lies unfold, the fire in the people burns hot and cold. Prosecutor McLean with his papers tight wrote the tale that never saw light. Twisted words in a room of stone left Rick Allen to stand alone. Who will answer? Who will pay? The sun don't rise on a judgment day. Free Rick Allen, let him go. Chains on the innocent, don't you know? When the truth's been buried and the lies unfold, the fire in the people burns hot and cold. Officer Holman, eyes like frost, drunk on power, the line got lost. Lock the doors, keep him inside, for justice limps where his footsteps stride.
All right. Now, let's bring in the first of the guests. There will be more, at least that is the promise. But you know her, you love her. She will say the things you didn't think of saying, but now can't get out of your mind. Welcome to Mo!
You worship the quicksand I walk upon. You know it. The fault lines I tread upon.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. And as some of my viewers keep complaining, introduce your guests. Mo, who are you?
Hey, you guys. I am a mom of 6 who suffered an injury about 4 years ago, so had to give up my glamorous job of laundry. And, you know, one second. As you can tell, I am the mother of young ferals, if not dragons. The They might be destroying my kingdom right now. I don't know. But I have a weekly morning show at 8 a.m. I bring you the news you never knew you always needed. Nothing political. I do bring you the mess that this world is in, but mostly the absurd headlines that make you, well, scratch your head and question what has CERN done to the timeline now? And I cover trials. Currently covering the Lindsay Clancy case for the island of misfit toys of the court of public opinion. We call balls and strikes and then look around at the world and thought, wow, this has really escalated.
Yep. Yep. I'm just going to bring up one thing because let's see here. Where is it? Yeah. For you who don't know, in 1982, just around when the E.T. film was made, they made, toys about the film and stuff like that. And I just to get your reaction, Mo, what do you think about this toy?
Mom, why is my toy in your nightstand? The finger. Now I want one. I severely want one. I am not touching you. Can you imagine the car rides? I'm not touching you, Elliot. And then like just parents not trying not to notice the inappropriateness of this toy their children love.
Yeah, I thought you would have fun with that.
Now I want one. I'm gonna check eBay.
All right. Now, second and third guest, due to reasons, they are presented as R4R. Hello, folks. How are you doing?
Hello. Hello. R for R is Rally for Rights, Rally for Rick.
Rally for Rights, Rally for Rick. Now, no, not that. Wrong picture. Now, I was supposed to bring up the press release. We are all professionals. Yay. So I'm so sorry.
You'll never get this on MSNBC.
We are all professionals. We are here. Now, Rally for Rights, Rally for Rick. Please tell us about it.
We decided neither one of us was really into the case while it was going on. We heard, we heard bits and pieces, but then upon listening to podcasts and then going down the Freedom of Information Act rabbit hole, we were just so disgusted by the way that the trial was, and so we...
Oh, I think you disappeared.
Yeah, I think they might be. Our internet was really bad the last couple of days with all the storms, so...
But once they get themselves known again, just keep talking and we will stop. I'm going to read here from the press release. Rally for Rights, Rally for Rick. For immediate release, August 14th, 2026. Indianapolis, Indiana. People from across the country are expected to gather at the Indiana State House from 7:30 to 9 a.m. on September 21st for Rally for Rights, Rally for Rick. A demonstration advocating for the constitutional right to a fair trial. The rally will take place on the morning of Richard Allen's appellate hearing, with oral arguments scheduled to begin at 10 a.m. The organizers maintain that the fundamental question surrounding the rally is bigger than one individual case. What does the constitutional right to a fair trial mean if evidence that could affect the outcome is not fully heard? The rally will also shine a light on the Flora 4. 4 young girls whose deaths remain unsolved in Carroll County, Indiana, same county as Delphi. These 4 girls was in November 2016. In a few short months, it is 10 years ago.
Yeah,
I've read the investigation. At least the parts that you can get a hold of. For me, it is apparent who the prime suspect is. And if you believe there was probable cause against Rick to search through everything, it's not even close to the evidence pointing to this particular person. They could easily have gone to a judge and said, this is what we have. We believe we will find more in his phone, in his computers, in his office, at home, and any judge would have signed it, but they didn't. And the thing that is the big difference between the Flora 4 and Abby and Libby is that the Flora 4 were 4 black girls in a community which is 98% white.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of distinct differences in the Flora 4, but it is the same underlying problem of we're not doing correct investigations. The people that can be brought in to help investigate aren't or won't be called in.
Yeah. The Flora 4 and Richard Allen case represent different circumstances, but both raise important questions about the pursuit of justice in Indiana. This rally is not about asking people to agree on Richard Allen's innocence of guilt. It's about standing together for a principle that belongs to every American. Constitutional rights do not depend on whether we like, dislike, believe, or doubt the person accused. And justice should never forget the victims whose cases remain unsolved. And I agree absolutely fully, because
Yes.
and I've said this a couple of times. Even if you believe Rick is guilty, the process should infuriate you.
The fact that we weren't allowed to be a part of a process that was done in our name should anger you. The fact that our representative, the public that was allowed to go to the gallery, things were cherry-picked from their reporting. Imagine how you would feel if Tyler Robinson were held the same way. We already have conspiracy theories out the yin-yang, and that's being televised. We have the Lindsay Clancy case where everyone can see the trial, and we still have it's become polarized to a point that I didn't think it would become polarized if everyone had access to the information.
Imagine the uproar if Carmelo Hayes was held in a prison in solitary confinement, brought there under the different name, without telling the attorneys that he was actually brought there. Imagine the uproar, the outcry, the absolute carnage that would.
That's probably the number one reason. I think we would agree that we were disgusted by this and felt like we needed to let the country know we're still watching and not just let it fall under the radar.
Yeah. And now we have the next guest have just arrived. He is, by Delphi case standards, a newbie. But he has taken a new look at this case. He is as mad about it as everybody else. I was a guest on his show on Sunday, last Sunday. I will be a guest on his show this Sunday. Here's Ray from Dallas. Hello, Ray.
Salute. Shout out to Nick. Shout out to Mo in the deep end. Shout out to R for R. Salute to the whole chat. Sorry I'm late, Nick, man. I got a 4-year-old son, so I want y'all to know, like, if y'all heard some screaming and hollering, because he's asleep right now, I'm praying he let me get through this. Right?
It's A-okay.
Yeah. Mo here is a mother of 6.
Nice.
Yeah. And her kids sometimes chooses the absolute worst moment to say something, and often something inappropriate.
Oh man, you hear my son? He's like the road runner. Beep beep. Man, and you will see.
Oh, yeah. Now, Ray, you have heard about the rally for rights rally for Rick that is taking place in Indianapolis on September 21st. Now, I know getting there from Texas is not the easiest. I heard it's a few hours away. But you have heard about it, I hope. Ray?
Can you hear me? Yeah. I
Yeah.
thought he was. Yeah. With the Delphi case, yeah.
Yeah. And I hope this coverage here, and maybe if someone over there could make a little piece about it on her show to promote this. And on Sunday, even if you don't, Ray, I will. Yeah. So today is all about Delphi, and I know it's an old case. I know it's not as popular as when I is involved in drama against another content creator, or when I talk about Can Read case. But for me, this case is probably the most important case, together with the Zachariah Anderson case I have covered.
I agree.
Now, because both are absolutely outrageous. That the justice system, when the justice system consists of a prosecutor that is just in it to win it, a judge that is basically on the prosecutor's bench, and witnesses who is on the stand, lying their ass off without repercussions. And
the prosecution went in knowing that, let's be very honest, you're a juror. Nothing really is pointing to Rick Allen, but do you want to be the one, as a member of your peer group, to go back if you say not guilty and that potential monster is let out? So they're working very kind of in a very subtle psychological pressure, because Rick Allen could be innocent, but that means a monster is still out there. Don't we want the potential monster in jail? Don't you feel more comfortable thinking the potential monster's in jail rather than we screwed this up from the beginning? Isn't that a little painful to admit?
Yeah.
I promise y'all, I knew nothing. And shout out to y'all, man. And I appreciate everybody who covered this Richard Allen case. I want to give y'all flowers, right? Because I knew nothing about this case. Nothing. And it's mind-boggling to me what I done learned about this case. And shout out to the beautiful classic overthinker. She been like an angel on my shoulders, right?
Yeah.
Guiding me the way. And there's still more that's out that I need to look at and learn more. But I know a lot. And when I say, man, I've never, ever in my life seen nothing like this that happened to Richard Allen.
Yeah.
And this is amazing to me. And what's so much amazing to me is why nobody ain't looking at this. This should be the biggest, excuse my language, shit popping out here.
Yeah.
Because they deliberately marketed it. Again, you've got to think what they were facing. This is a potential crime with, underlying, archaic things involved in it. This is the first case since, the Memphis 3 that we've had these satanic panic undertones. And we were deliberately not told any of this, even though there was a professor that said, this looks like something hinky's going on. So we were deliberately not told anything. We were kept in the dark. And then by the time the defense got their feet under them and they said, hey, look, I know it's going to sound crazy, but we've got this Frank's memo. You were primed to not believe them.
Yeah, you know what's so crazy? I'm sorry about that, y'all. You know what's so
It's
crazy
okay.
to me? I'm sorry, y'all, real quick.
No worries.
You know
No
what's so
worries.
crazy to me? Everything just surrounding it. Like, how did the fingers get pointed at Ricky? That's my question. How did that happen? You like
Yeah.
this ain't just no error in the process. This is injustice at its finest.
Yeah.
And
I want to
Ray,
know.
I don't know if you've ever seen, but Nick and I had the opportunity to go to Delphi. The CVS Rick Allen worked in. Now, both Nick and I have mobility issues. It only took us about 3 minutes walking to get from the jail where Unified Command headquarters was to the Walgreens or the CVS. I always get those mixed up. But to the pharmacy, it is not far away. It is, I mean, it's next to the McDonald's. You can see every single person from Unified Command going into this place randomly just to go in. And you're telling me none of the people ever clocked him? None of them. None of them said, oh my God, he looks a little bit like that sketch, if you squint.
Yeah. Nobody looked at the sketches, and not a single tip of the, I think, over 15,000 call-in tips, not a single one was about Rick Allen. When they played The Voice, and they played it over and over and over again, not a single person walking into CVS, where Rick Allen had worked for years and still worked for years, not a single person.
And break that down. You are in a small insular community that has had a wound to its innocence, a psychic wound to the entire populace of that small town. This was an attack on all of them. They internalized this. And no one popped up and said, I don't like this guy. No one said, Rick Allen. In the primed opportunity where the sheriff came out and said, look for a man who's shaved his face. Look for anyone who's changed anything. You're telling me Rick Allen had a man who's been diagnosed with attachment disorders and, being very passive. He had the ball sack to not change anything, to just ball face, like hard, like just baller it out for the cops for several years in front of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what bothers me. 5.5 years later.
Yeah. 5.5 years later, by Kathy Shanks finding this hidden piece of paper. That tip was Rick Allen himself calling in. I was there roughly at this time. He met up with the police officer. He showed his phone to the police officer. This was days later. Police officer.
One of the things that's always really bothered me is seeing reports where people say that Rick admitted to being on the trails when that's an inappropriate word. He volunteered.
Yeah, he volunteered.
Just like he was asked to during the first press release.
Yeah. They actively asked anybody who was near between this time and that time, please contact us. And he did, voluntarily. A police officer took his statement. A police officer checked his phone. We will have to assume that if Rick Allen showed him his phone, this officer took his phone, went through it.
Yeah, I'll never forget the press conference where the lead investigator basically looked at the monitor when this first started and said, "We know who you are." There were heavy references to The Shack, as a Christian movie. So I thought that maybe that was an FBI influence because it seemed to be too smart for anything that Delphi did in retrospect. But he said, "We know who you are." He was talking directly to the killer. Now, that's usually something you only do if you have behavior analysis behind you, because there are certain things that you are trying to trigger or elicit. Rick Allen didn't change his behavior. They were trying to elicit a change in behavior. They were trying to get someone to shave their head or change their hair or things like that. So the fact that, again, a very passive man, a timid man who has done a once in a generational crime with, overtones of Odinism was able to basically method act the entire time under the police's nose.
No. While we are talking about the sketches here, now, the two sketches on the bottom. Now, the first sketch the investigators shown was the one at the bottom right. By the way, all of these sketches were taken at the same time back in 2017. So, on the bottom right is the person they suspected at first. Please, anybody, can somebody tell us about this somewhat middle-aged man who on the wanted poster, if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, I know there are people in the chat that knows more about this case than us four combined. They were looking for a person of average height, average weight. There's nothing about Rick Allen that is average.
No.
He's 5'4" to 5'5" and rotund.
And he damn sure definitely couldn't fit that 19 stupid fucking time frame they was talking about with everything that was wrong with him and shit. Man, fuck them people. I'm sorry.
No, but you bring up a good point, Ray, because it does help to have, new eyes on this and see the wrong, because sometimes you get so into it and you think, okay, am I too close? Am I just seeing things that or cherry picking things to fit my theory? But then when a new person comes in and is like, this is effed up, it's like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Nah, because the thing is, I knew nothing about it. I didn't. I'm going to be honest with you. I was caught up how big the Karen Reed and Turtle Boy case was. This case, which I think is huger, how did this just slide under the rug? I knew nothing.
It wasn't televised.
I get that. And all the stuff like that, with that piece of crap, strong neck gull, like that woman right there, man. It's just learning about this case, man. It's heartbreaking.
When Rick Allen was arrested, everybody, relief. They finally got him. And that was the general population's thoughts. And it stayed that way. So nobody really cared about the flaws. Unless you actually looked into it, like us fools did. And we were ridiculed constantly for bringing up, why is this? How about that? Why doesn't this fit? Absolutely relentlessly ridiculed.
Well, and I remember hearing about Rick Allen because once we caught them, you'll have to remember the two sketches that are on the bottom are the ones that were released to the general public. So we went from old guy in a golf cap to young guy with ramen noodle carols, for no reason. And we were told to disregard the first sketch. So we had.
Can I just tell you how much I love on the Hulu documentary, the one woman that they have come on after they released the second sketch, and she said, well, I guess we've just been looking for the wrong guy this whole time. I mean, it's a who.
Yeah. And when they switched from guy one to a young, middle-aged guy to young guy, they actively told the public, we know this guy. He is cleared. Something that they weren't allowed to tell the jury.
Yeah, and this case started off weird because what I was going to tell you is I have some friends in the appellate community in Indiana, and when we found out that Rick Allen was being held in a prison in solitary confinement, I remember reaching out because I was fairly new to watching trials and I was like, this isn't normal, is it? And she's like, No, none of this is normal. We are trying to figure this out because none of this is presenting as normal. Not one thing about this is normal. And you had people from the start, appellate lawyers, defense attorneys, who are like, what in the hell is going on? And they raised the alarm first.
Yeah.
But as you see, what I found out about the great Nik Starow, when he told me they found a thin line to where they could put him in there. Nick, can you explain that to me again? What did you call that, sir?
The safekeeping order.
Yeah, can you explain that to me again? What happened?
Safekeeping. Well, the first judge on this case was Judge Diener. Don't exchange his D for a W. He takes offense to it. So Judge Wiener.
Hey, when the name fits, it fits.
Yeah, when the name fits, it actually fits. He, together with the sheriff and I believe one more, was in the room at this ex parte safekeeping hearing. Ex parte meaning Rick Allen wasn't there. His attorney wasn't there, or his attorney at the time wasn't there. This was pure ex parte.
Is that, by the way, you being a legal expert, is that something that happens often?
No. In more or less the entirety of the United States, ex parte is regarded by default to be a bad move, so to speak. We went through that extensively in the Young Thug RICO trial, which eventually almost caused a mistrial and the judge to be recused from the trial, just by getting ex parte and then not telling the other party about it. So every ex parte is considered, I believe, in every jurisdiction in the United States, is by default the wrong thing to do. And how to cure that is to immediately tell opposing party about it, so that party gets all the information immediately, can file the correct motions. But they kept quiet. They just sent Rick Allen off to this maximum security prison. And within this maximum security prison, he was in the most secure part of it, together with serial rapists, serial murderers, people who killed in prison. He was put in a solitary confinement cell within that part of the building with a lot of people who already hated his guts because somebody leaked the information about the case to the other inmates. And then he was guarded by Odinist gods.
Hold up, say that again. I didn't know that. Somebody leaked information?
Generally, if you are put into a safekeeping order, rather, regardless if it's jail or prison, your case is basically sealed. Nobody gets your case file except the warden and then Dr. Walla, the prison psychologist. So either, and we know investigators went there. We know the warden had the information. We know Dr. Walla had the information. Someone of this really, really limited bunch of people told everybody in that prison.
And why that prison? Why the prison with all the Odinists? Why was he sent there? I would give a body part, perhaps an appendix, to see the FBI files before they were kicked out of this trial case, because I want to see what their theory of the case is. I desperately think that they were probably on the right path.
Yeah. Now, this is a subject I was hoping to get to in next Friday. I'm trying to keep things, folks. By the way, I have 3 Fridays left before I travel to Indianapolis. So this Friday, hopefully, every Friday we are going to talk about the rally, of course. This Friday, now I know that we get sidetracked and everything, but I'm trying to get this somewhat compressed to what actually happened in 2017 that we now know is a complete lie. But we can discuss anything around it. But next Friday, we are going to talk more about the information or the lack of information leading up to Rick's arrest and what happened to Rick immediately after the arrest. And then another Friday from now, we are going to talk about the appeal, of course, because then I'm off to Indiana.
I think and R&R may have some thoughts on this, but I remember being a resident because I'm from Indiana. I'm about an hour and a half away from Delphi if you speed. A little bit less if you go the right way. But I remember them coming on and, telling us about these little girls. And because I was raising littles at the time, so I didn't get fully into the case. And I remember not even knowing until many years later how they'd even passed away. So I had assumed something terrible and horrific just by the way that everyone was acting. But I remember we weren't told much. We were given, this very Oscar-worthy, I'm going to get you. I know who you are kind of press conference. So I thought we were on the right track. And then it went radio silent. There would be a couple little updates where we're on the track. But
which they probably were, but they ignored it.
You didn't miss anything. You didn't miss anything.
Really?
That's how it was.
Yeah.
So
and we didn't even get the bridge guy until later after this murder had been announced. It was later that they then even posted the video of the guy saying down the bridge. So it was all or down the hill. It was all very odd.
Yeah. And so 2017, we got the guy on the bottom right here. Now we know that's Sarah Carbaugh's description. Sarah Carbaugh, who saw while passing by on not the highway, but the interstate or whatever road it was, at 4 p.m. roughly, which should be a real well-trafficked road. She's the only person who traveled that road around that time who claimed she saw a muddy guy. But that was her first opinion, who then changed it to a muddy, bloody guy, and then changed to you could see the blood spatter on his clothes. And when she did this sketch, and if you've seen it, you know what I'm going to talk about next. The sketch artist said to her, "We can change it if you want. We can
cheat a little.
We can cheat a little." And for my opinion has been for a very long time is that Sarah Carbaugh is full of shit. She saw nothing. She somehow wanted to get herself involved, and now she can't get away from it. I think her entire story is fabricated.
And like me looking at that dude say we could cheat. What? Excuse me?
Yeah.
You know you're on candid camera, right? And guess what? That went just untold. That just went like, that's nothing. That don't mean nothing to y'all. That this dude who's supposed to be in this level, who took an oath, told this woman you could cheat in the mud and blood.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my.
Yeah. And again, why did they choose to release that picture, but not the picture of the young guy with poofy hair that was actually seen on the fucking trail? I mean, there's so much about this case that absolutely amazing. And then the two other pictures, for you who are new to it, was never released to the public. These two here are images of other young people seen at or around the trail, at or around the time when the girls disappeared. Never released. One of them kind of looks like a young Elvis Fields, the third from the left or second from the right, and the guy to the far left, don't know. But what we have here is remove this. This guy probably doesn't even exist. This guy here, let's do I have no?
Well, what I find interesting about the most, the one with the gator under the nose, it was 2017. It wasn't past the coof. That would have been incredibly noticeable. If you pay attention, if you're looking at faces and someone was wearing a face mask at that time, that's going to be, especially on a warm February day, you're going to make note of that gator being on his on his mouth. So to me, that's going to be the person I'm looking for, the guy who's obscuring his face during a warm February day.
Yeah. This here are the people who were actually seen around the trail around the time of the disappearance, not the guy to the right. So these are 3 young people. These, I mean, and still, they went
the
after...
physicality. The physicality of the crime, I have never thought it in any way added up to one person, one lone person, and a first attack, a first homicide. So Rick Allen goes his entire life, and then this is his first crime. There's not any escalatory crimes. There's not weird stuff on his computer, because they searched that with a fine-tooth comb. If they found anything weird on there, we would have known about it.
Yeah.
You're telling me this man went from 0 to a double homicide, ritualistic double homicide. It doesn't make sense.
5'4", going across the creek that's nearly 4 feet in depth, that's moving rapidly with two girls, and manages to pull all of this off and put down limbs and branches in a certain way and get out of there. And what does it really end up being? Correct me if I'm wrong, like 19 minutes.
It's supposedly 19 minutes, because it
according to the quote unquote timeline.
Has anyone ever tried to dress a wet toddler? Because that's essentially, I mean, but essentially that's what you're going to be trying to do with a dead body. And more than that, they put extra clothing on. They put the other girl's bra on top of the other one. I mean, they put additional clothes on there. That is incredible physicality. If you've ever tried to dress a toddler who just came out of the bath, that's hard. The clothes stick. You have to kind of gently pull them up.
It takes me 5 minutes to put socks on if I'm just out the shower. I mean, seriously. Yeah, but if we go back to 2017, let's talk about Girls Down the Hill, because the video we didn't actually see until trial, and the description from the investigators was down the hill, and then sometime later,
come on, girls,
down the hill, girls, or something of the sort, with the description that the girls were panicked, they sounded in distress, and all of the things. And then let me find it. And folks, if you're completely new to this, let's see.
And there was a general lack of help, asking the public for help, that I found interesting, because as the years went by and by, we didn't get, "Hey, we're still looking for this or that guy," or, "Hey, this is the thing." It was always like, "We're working on it. We're just halfway there." It was never more of an appeal for help during those little segments.
Yeah. So this here is with enhanced sound. So and I say it, anything enhanced should never be admissible in a court of law, only the original. Because even with my limited, all I did was put this in Clipchamp and boosting the volume. That's all I did. And I did it twice to get more sound out. But that's still, you're allowing a program to enhance things the program believes needs enhancing. The moment you enhance something, they take away stuff to make others sound more.
Well, and then, Nick, here's the premise that never got to me, and I say this with no disrespect. Those little girls,
Yeah.
The world is a worse place that they're not here.
Yeah.
But I have had, I am a mom of 6, and I can tell you that my 13-year-old, when my oldest girls were the ages of Abby and Libby, they were smart and they had a good head on their shoulder, but they were not situationally aware.
No.
Now, so with the distance that Bridge Guy is in the photo, I wish they would have just sold it as it was Abby's first, or no, it was Libby's first time across the bridge. That's what they were capturing. To put on this extra, she was aware that he was a predator. It never rang true to me, because I know my 13-year-old girls, if they were having fun, if one of their friends was doing something, a rite of passage, they're not paying attention to anyone around them, because they live in a safe world.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to play this first, and after that, R for R. After I play this, tell them your theory, but I'm going to play this first.
Okay.
See, this is the path that we go down. There's no path going there, so we have to go down here. Hi.
All right.
Okay, well, I almost feel like, and I don't know if any of you have done this before, I almost feel like that that Libby was trying to take a picture and didn't realize she was on video, and then later on realized, oh, I'm still on video. I'm not certain that video was as intentional as we're led to believe. And I have nothing to back that up. I don't know that that's true, but I just know how many times I've done it, and it's just so, so much of the ground and things like this that it doesn't ring to me like it's intentional.
Well, and there's not terror in their voice. There's not like, "Hey,
No.
let's get over here," because you can tell. And if you're listening for it, because I was listening for it, do I hear any stress in the voice? Do I hear kind of, "Hey, let's go down here"? When you kind of use that tone, like, "Hey, friend, let's go here." Like you're not paying attention, you're not catching what I'm getting. But it never struck me as intentional, and I don't think it takes anything away from what the girls experienced if it was unintentional and they just happened to catch it. But this added layer of narrative has always made me question why they needed it.
Yeah. No.
I couldn't see nothing there to how could you think that's what that one?
See,
Sorry.
this is the.
I'm just going to show you here now a small part of it that I believe is extremely crucial. Let's see here. Oh, of course we. You see down there?
Mm-hmm.
That's a trail.
Mm.
That goes
That-
under the bridge and up to where both Brad Weber and what's his face? Geez, why do I keep forgetting the names? I'm closing in on Alzheimer's here, I think.
Oh,
Is
no,
it
that's
Mears
okay.
or Logan or?
Yeah, Ron Logan. Because people maybe not realize this, but Brad Weber and Ron Logan lived not that far apart.
No, and what I also want to point out, if you haven't been on the Delphi Trail, and I think Nick and I weren't on it at around the same time, but you can hear this is a very dangerous place to pick for a double homicide. You can hear people as they're walking. This is not a controlled environment. This is this sound carries incredibly. That's what was very striking to me is you can hear the highway. It's not very far from the highway. And it struck me how incredibly alone those girls must have felt because you can hear help all around you. And that's what struck me. And I just don't see this being, with all these variables, this being a first-time double homicide.
Yeah, because when we went there, it was August. There were leaves everywhere. I mean, full green and everything. And we heard people 5 minutes before they showed up at the trail. Now remove everything. There's literally nothing that stops any sound. Yeah.
And that's what bothered me too. Like this Ron Logan property and the other dude, Brad Weber, they there and you know, they just turn their eyes from them. Right? It's just, this is just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, back in 2017 when they played this short board, I understand for investigative reasons, you don't want to play all of it. But to actively, as we then heard, I do not hear stress in their voice. I don't hear distress. I hear a girl knowing where they are going because she clearly says, this is the path that we go down. There's not a trace of any gun which they used against Rick Allen. There's nothing in there that speaks of a gun. And even in and we will get to this on the third Friday, in the state's brief, or reply brief to the appeals court, they changed again what is said on the video. Because what the state wrote in their appeals reply wasn't what they said was said at trial even. They changed it again to make it fit.
And the other thing that is insane to me, and I remember being relieved. I know we're trying to stay in 2017. But I need you to understand that nearly every house in Indiana and possibly rural Appalachia would have had everything in the search warrant for Rick Allen. A Carhartt jacket, knives, force multipliers. I mean, that's just every day in Indiana. Nothing about that singles him out uniquely for the crime scene, which is what would be needed to have had an actual search warrant. And if you guys have read the actual search warrant or probable cause affidavit, a greater work of fiction has not yet been, like, not even a car person. And I know that a PT Cruiser and a mini smart car are not the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, and listening to Jerry fucking Holman, not only claiming, these cars are basically the same. And then at trial, when I read the transcript, when asked about the sketches, he says it is the same person. Let me bring the sketches up again. Dun, dun, dun. The two people, Jerry Holman, lead investigator in this case, under oath, said the two bottom pictures here, this guy and this guy, are the same person to him. Because that is the only way they can get, well, not the only way, but the way they get credibility to Sarah Carbaugh, even though her sketch was 2.5 fucking hours later, 2 miles away. And I still say to this day, she lied. That person on the bottom right does not exist. She made him up. And I'm sticking to it.
It's very detailed. And again, I would have to
agree, because you remember he said we could cheat. We could change it up. We could fix it. And I'm sorry, that's my son Cameron in the background.
Oh, no, that's okay.
We could fix it. We could cheat. We could do it how you want to do it. Let's change it up. Let's fool the world. On camera, he said this. And Judge Gard just looked the other way.
What would be interesting to test, because look at her sketch versus all the other ones. This is incredibly detailed.
Y'all, me getting into this case is something I never imagined or dreamed. And like I said, y'all know the timeline better than I do, right? Y'all do. And that's clear cut, no debating. So that's why, it feels so good to just hear the panel of expertise who've been following this case for a long time just break it down in layers like y'all breaking it down. That's what gives me a better, understanding. And I'm with you too, Nick, when you said about this sketch. And I remember, was that Doug Carter? Was that him who said, I don't care about that sketch. Forget that other sketch what was her name? Betsy? What was her name? What was the lady name? Betsy?
I mean, Betsy Blair, I believe, is the poofy guy, the guy with the poofy hair.
So yeah. So that's what I'm saying. And then she said it was a young guy, and then like I said, so I don't want to skip timelines. I'm just staying right there because, like I said, I've been all over the place just looking at everything. So I'm familiar with everything y'all said, just not going through timeline by timeline. That's why I'm just trying to stay here and speak about that.
Well,
But it's
what
so
has
good to
always
just hear it, though.
intrigued me about the older sketch is I would like to talk to the person who influenced it, because most people do not notice this level of detail. Most people can barely remember who a person is. It takes a very unique kind of observer to notice this level of detail from a very incidental meeting.
Yeah.
So this again, and we know that memory and human memory is so easily influenced.
Her.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, the reason why it is so detailed is because she made it up.
Well, and that's what
I'm saying. A person
I'm
telling the truth don't remember those details.
No, and again, what intrigues me most about this, if I were an investigator...
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't hear her talking.
Okay.
No, I can't.
If you might have to go in and come back in. StreamYard's been wonky.
Yeah, StreamYard is sometimes wonky when there's multiple people on, so try to go in and out.
And come back?
Yeah.
All right.
But again, what intrigues me about this and the fact that if you take down the bottom two, again, the top two are doing, to some extent, obscuring of their identity. Now, it's not good, it's not great, but I have 2 little girls that are unalive. I'm looking for the people that are trying to hide their identity.
Yeah.
Now, I'm also, again, people generally don't pay attention to other people, especially when you are, supposed to be engaged in the art of disattending. Now that's where you pretend you're not noticing other people to make them feel comfortable in a social situation. Like where you pretend not to notice the people melting down in the restaurant because you're really interested in the tea. Okay, so that's disattending. So most people are doing that to a certain extent in public areas. You are not paying attention. You are not taking in this level of detail that she got on this particular sketch. So I call bullshit on that. Now, as a person who does take in everything in 13, Spinal Tap 13, I can tell you I wouldn't even get that level of detail on a random encounter.
No. And she was driving, I assume, around the speed limit, which I believe on that road is, I think it's more than 40, if it's not 50 miles an hour or something of the sort. And this was a guy walking on the side of the road. And she passed him. That's all that happened.
Yeah, no
according
way.
to her. And not a single other person around 4 p.m. on a weekday saw that guy on that road. If a guy walking around, as she later testified to, muddy and bloody on the side of the road at around 4 p.m., everybody would have seen him.
Well, okay, yes and no, Nick. I mean, it is still a rural area with only 12,000 people, I think, population at the last count. I could be wrong, so don't quote me. But it's still a rural. So that doesn't not check out as much as this detailed of a sketch at 15 miles per hour, when what you would notice would be a muddy man, not his face. You would notice the mud. You would say, that would be the thing that would catch you out of. So, when you're driving and you're not paying attention, but you're paying attention, but not. So the thing that would pop your brain out of that sort of autopilot would be the muddy man. You would not look at his face. You would be looking at the mud. You would be saying, that's odd. Is he fishing? It's February. What's going on there? That would catch your attention. You would not notice his face.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And the fact that all of these four were produced close to the actual time of crime in 2017. They only released one of them. Then they said, we no longer look for this person. Now, that could have been a trick. But until somebody testified to it, that it was a trick, we have to assume they were telling the truth back in 2019. We are no longer looking for this. We are now looking for a young man with poofy hair. The other person is, according to the information they released, they knew who he was, and he was no longer a suspect. Information the jury never was allowed to hear.
Information the public didn't realize until it was released later. Yeah. Again, much later, after they had according to them, shifted the nexus of their entire investigation. They, again, without knowing who this new young guy was, they didn't ask the public.
Yeah.
They didn't release it to the public until they were forced to, because there was no movement and elections were drawing near. I mean, stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And this was in 2019 when the guy with poofy hair. Why not the other two? Why not the other two images? Because just guy with poofy hair, I don't know. But these three youngsters together, that might jog a memory. Because if these three guys, youngsters, as it seems, are at roughly the same place, they probably hang out together.
What kills me and what has never made sense to me is basically you have the perfect setup for another, Mississippi 3. I am surprised, with as lazy and as unimaginative as the investigation was, they didn't just round up the local goth kid and blame it on him.
Yeah.
I mean, you legitimately had everything that the Memphis 3 was lacking, really, and researched, professorial backed, you know, guidance that this had every hallmark of being a ritualistic crime. And they're like, nah, this one guy did it, we swear.
Yeah. And we now know through the Frank's motion and Frank's motion 2, 3, and 4 that up until Rick Allen, the investigation, and including Rick Allen, the investigation was always more than one. Always more than one. I specifically recollect a transcript from one of the hearings after Rick Allen was apprehended, that McLeland clearly states, "We hope he can lead us to more." So my theory is they arrested him, Rick Allen, because they hoped he would lead them to more people. The entire ruse to put him there was to make him talk about other people. But they failed at it because all of a sudden his mind shattered after being screamed at for 5 months straight, being guarded by Odinist God, being guarded with the inmate companions, inmates who is in a maximum security prison for crimes unimaginable for us, who are actively looking for favors. Of course they are going to make shit up that they claim he says in the cell. Everything about this is an already fragile mind.
That's the question.
Yeah.
So is this in 2017 when...
No.
So
we were a bit sidetracked here, going back up until Rick Allen was apprehended.
Okay, so speaking on that, so what's crazy to me is I found out when I listened to Holman and was it Doug called the deposition? I think it was him, one of them. They went up there to the prison, and Rick Allen didn't even have no lawyer. Am I in the same time frame?
Yeah, and
And
there
think about
is a gap between, because I believe his wife, Rick's wife, hired a lawyer almost instantaneously, but somehow that lawyer wasn't around the first few months. Then his then trial attorneys were appointed, and they probably believed, yeah, he's there, but at least he's safe. So at first they didn't do anything about it until they did actually realize, because they went there a couple of times, nobody cared. Yeah, get in here. Yeah, yada yada yada. And they found out, why are you filming us? Why are you filming us? And all of a sudden everything was restricted. And sadly, they didn't realize, because who in their right mind believes this about the state? I mean, until it actually happens. Who would imagine that Rick wasn't safe there? He should have been, but he wasn't, because the staff, the inmates, the psychologists, and the warden more or less cooperated with the investigation to make Alan Rick talk.
And I need you to understand that Rick Allen, in his first interrogation and the interrogations before he broke, this became a personal vendetta for Holman.
Yeah.
The fact that he would not break. And once they found out that Rick's family was the thing that would break him, they used that to devastating effect. You hear a man who is terrified for his family. I don't know what they were threatening his family with, but you can hear a man before he confessed, like, I'll just make sure Kathy's okay.
Yeah.
That is not a man who is breaking under, I have done something terrible and I need to confess. That is a man who says, my life is forfeit. I just want my family to be safe. If this will keep my family safe, then so be it. And this is after Halidol. This is after the most disturbing videos that I'm glad I did not see.
Yeah.
Of a man's mind breaking.
Yeah. And because Rick was already under medication throughout his stay there. And then slowly but surely his mind broke. And then they pumped him full with Haldol. Now, for those who don't know, my folks, I'm old enough. I was an adult when the Berlin Wall fell. I did my army service at the back end of the Cold War. I was taught the interrogation methods of then Soviet Union. One of the interrogation, how they got people to confess, was pump them full with Haldol until their mind is broken and they will say what you want. There are hundreds of examples from the gulags where people were pumped full with Haldol, all of a sudden signed a confession, Haldol was taken away from them, they got reasonably sane again and tried to retract their confession. No, not in the Soviet Union. Haldol was Soviet Union's favorite mind-altering drug. And the reason why they still prescribe this diabolical drug, which can be effective under controlled circumstances in the general population, not prisoners, general population who are regularly seeing a care facility. Yes, it can be useful in extremely low doses. Haldol is used within the prison system because the patent ran out decades ago, and a dose is about 5 cents. They use it because it's cheap. So here's Rick Allen, already on medication, pumped full with high doses of Haldol because he was then, even though they claim he wasn't, in an active psychosis, saying things that is impossible. Starting World War III, cheating on his wife with a matchstick, killing his grandchildren. He has no grandkids. I mean, all of that. They just, no, ignore that. That was when he was in psychosis, but the confessions, that was when he was lucid. It's stupid.
And yeah, and if you looked at any research of, there is a reason that testimony garnered under torture really isn't, useful. There is a reason that it's sort of a last resort, and they will do anything before adding pain. The human brain does not act well under pain. I say this as a person with chronic, constant, never-ending pain, okay? My executive functioning is not as great as it used to be because of the constant pain. Now, there is a level at which you will become very honest, but then there's a level at which you will say anything to make it stop. And most people, it's a fine line. And they have shown that you just do not get good, useful information. I mean, it doesn't stop governments from trying, but...
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry you're going through that. And like you say, that's speaking to Richard Allen, right? What was her name? Dr. Westgate? I'm sorry, y'all. Like,
Dr. Walla?
No, not that hillbilly. I'm talking about the one who came in and said that Rick Allen was mentally already out of there before he came in there.
In the initial evaluation, I don't know who did the initial evaluation. He was at the second highest level of mental instability. If let's say a 5-graded scale, A, B, C, D, and E. If it's E, you're off to a proper facility. He was brought in on the second highest level. The moment Rick Allen's mind deteriorated. He should have been on the E level. Problem here is the fucking safekeeping order that the state used in hearings, that the prison used to keep him there under their control.
And I would love to dig into the mechanism and the machinery behind the choice of Westville with the Odinist concentration and the unit he got being full of Odinists. It just, what a coinkydink that just all happened at once.
Yeah, but I still believe they started doing that in order first to get him to. They might have thought he was involved, but he would give up who actually did it.
Might have thought who was involved, Rick Allen?
No, yeah, but if you get a patsy that will say something, if they thought he knew something, he's the weakest link. I mean, legitimately, if you look at all of the characters involved in this, let's get the dirty dozen in here. If you think Rick Allen is even tangentially involved, he is the weakest link. He's the one you lean on to get him to sing about the rest of them.
Yeah.
So why would they think? Richard Allen?
That's me injecting logic into this.
Yeah. And
okay,
I don't.
Sorry.
Yeah. And
no, that's
and the reason is Kathy Shanks, who, by magic, found this hidden tip, which was Rick Allen calling in saying, I was there roughly that time. These are the groups of people I saw. And then a cop, as we went through about an hour ago, when he showed his phone to the cop, and the person who cleared Rick Allen, the name on that fucking note is Jerry Holman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Jerry Holman once cleared Rick Allen. After another cop went there, talked to Rick at the parking lot of somewhere. Rick showed him his phone. Probably went through the phone a bit. Yeah, okay. Your story holds up. Because this was roughly at the time at the first sketch, which is, by the way, the only sketch that even vaguely resembles Rick Allen. And by the way, YouTube allows me to send 10 gifted memberships each month. And today, here's 5 of them. And who was gifted it was Skinrow, Lindsay, All Eyes on Delphi, Classic Overthinker, and Life of an NHA Sports Mom.
Oh, man, that's a beautiful classic.
Yeah. Classic, I don't have your contact information. Do you want to join?
Man, she been my guardian angel, driving me through this case, man.
You know what? I'm going to do a rare thing here because I see that Classical is there. I'm going to post the link to this stream in the chat. So Classic, I know. Good luck with that. I do have a few
I kind of pissed off all of the Fart Shadow fans. This might not be a great idea, but hey, I'm here, and it's a day that ends in Y. I stand by everything I say. So, hi, it's Friday. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Okay. No thanks. I'm camera shy. Oh, no worries. No worries. Give it time. Give it time.
And Ray, I have to commend you. I have had to step back from Delphi just because there's so much to learn, and I want to respect it by, giving it the time and energy it deserves. And to come in behind, when it's already so much, it can be intimidating. And thanks for, we need more people to come in. This is a big tent. We have room for everyone. And I'm so glad that more people are getting aware of this case.
Yeah.
No, I want to first off thank all the OG cranks. I got to thank Classic the most because, like I say, I'm like the little shop of horror. I'm like, feed me, Seymour, feed me, and that's what she do. And like I said, my eyes are just wide open and mind boggled, right? Like, because I knew nothing about this case. So I'm just very much appreciative of the people who come through and just help me get through this case classic to be the most, because trust me, she is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And I put that on everything in NIMS, right? But I am so on this because I look at it like this. What if the roles were reversed? What this could be you, me, you.
Yeah.
Everybody need to understand that.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm sorry because I see zero, nada, not a titi of evidence against Richard Allen. Like this is the biggest railroad in my lifetime that I done seen, and this is tragic and it's heartbreaking, right?
Yeah.
To see the videos of Richard Allen,
Yeah.
right? An innocent man, nothing, no evidence, no nothing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah, the way they have to
No,
manufacture
it's
everything to fit is absolutely mind-blowing. And one of the most I don't know if she's actually pure evil or if she's actually at the wrong end of the bell curve, and the Dunning-Kruger effect is that damn forensic bullet tester chick.
Look,
No.
Appalachia did not send our best. That's all I can say. We do apologize. We don't claim her. She didn't go to our school, but she tried to make fetch happen.
Yeah. I see the discussion in the chat here about the appeals court is asking for the interrogations. I haven't seen that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because the appeals court have the filings from the two parties. There is actually nothing that stopped the appeals court from reading the entire transcript.
I was wondering about what they have jurisdictional, like what they can go into, what they can look at. I didn't know if they were precluded for certain things. So that is comforting to know that while they have both of the briefs, they can also go to the transcript to get the original sort of flavor of what was going on contemporaneously.
Because with the briefs, the entire transcript is given. Then they can reference the things that are in the briefs to the transcript. So the appeals court have access to the entire transcript, which I do believe includes pre-trial hearings.
And that was the other thing I was wondering, because I do wonder if the appellate court is going to see how many times the Franks motion was rendered, denied, rendered, how many times the general access. I mean, I do kind of have an inside back circle to a lot of defense attorneys in Indiana, and the way and the guards behind his attorneys, even the handpicked ones from Gull, was something that long practicing attorneys had never seen. I mean, when we say this was out of the ordinary, I mean, you had long standing attorneys that were like, what in the hell is going on here?
Yeah. I mean, there's extremely, this is a case where it should be 90%, yeah, whatever, he's guilty, let's move on, and 10% going, hey, look at this, hey, look at this. This case is one of few where a lot of us are still here. I mean, there's a lot of other cases that deserves the same recognition, but this case awoken something. I remember Andrea Burkhardt saying, yeah, she knows that we are outraged about Judge Gull. There's a Judge Gull in almost every county. And for the people, the Karen Reed watchers, and we have said this several times, we wish we had Judge Bev. Because at least she let people see the proceeding. At least she allowed the witnesses after ridiculous Daubert hearings and everything, he still allowed them, after making bad remarks, she still allowed them to testify. Judge Gull didn't. What
No,
Judge
and
Gull
what
did was,
happened?
was
Because
so nefarious.
Oh, go ahead. You finish,
Yeah,
and then
was
I'll
so
go.
nefarious because we held fundraisers because she denied funding for experts. Now, there was funding for experts, but since the state brought in new experts and new things, the defense says, well, we need somebody to counteract that, and she denied it, forcing us to fundraise for new experts, which the defense brought in, paid, got them to write their opinions and affidavits, and then Judge Gull denied it, making us waste all that money. And it was so planned and nefarious from Judge Gull. Imagine Judge Bev on TV or stream saying that no, Arca can't testify.
No, it's worse than that, Nick.
Yeah.
Imagine Judge Bev basically only allowing cameras in for a career red wedding, a career, evisceration on live television. Imagine that the only reason she was allowing cameras, a woman that fought for cameras to be in in courtrooms, a woman who started at the beginning of her career, wanted accountability and transparency and fought for Indiana to get, live streaming in courtrooms. But the only time she wanted to have cameras in that courtroom was when she was going to publicly excoriate Baldwin and Rossi. That was the only time. I need you to understand the psychology of that. A woman who started out, because what happened, Judge Gull?
I didn't know. Sorry. I didn't know about this. Filed August 18th by the clerk of the Indiana Supreme Court of Appeals. Hold on here.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Away with that. Let's get this up. This is August 18th, 2026. This is about things that the court sent to the appeals court. Court of Appeals, filed August 18th by the clerk of Indiana Supreme Court. Order: 3 of the audio-video exhibits, defendants exhibits HHH, III, and KKK, appear to be corrupted or unplayable. Having reviewed the matter, the court finds and orders as follows. Within 10 days of this order, the court reporter is ordered to file with the Carroll, Circuit, and Superior Court's clerk a conventional physical exhibit volume containing new copies of defendants' exhibits HHH, III, and KKK. These are the filings that the fuckers first didn't send at all, and took their good fucking time sending over to the Court of Appeals. And when they do it, they file corrupt files. You motherfuckers, you evil. This, by the way, the Carroll County Court reporter is the one who said, no, you have to pay a fuck ton of money to even get the transcript. Then she went on a vacation, and the person filling in for her said, yeah, here it is. And still, the files we got was incomplete. Within 5 days of the date of the exhibit volume is filed, the Carroll Circuit and Superior Court clerks is ordered to transmit the exhibit volume to the clerk of this court. The clerk is directed to send this order to the parties, court reporter Jody Williams, and the trial court, and the Carroll Circuit and Superior Court clerks. The Carroll Circuit and Superior Court clerk is directed to file this order on the case number this. Page 1 of 2? What? And pursuant to Indiana Trial Rule 77D, the clerk shall place the contents of this order in the record of judgment and orders. From the chief judge signed this.
Goodness.
Oh, this, folks, is the appeals court slamming their fist. Because the state has been, or the Carroll County and the clerk of court in Carroll County has been an absolute cunt for years about this case.
Yes. This, good Lord.
And rule number 1 in trials: do not piss off the judge. And here, the Carroll County Superior Court and the clerk have managed to piss off the appeals court by sending them corrupt files of the first. I believe they first said, no, we won't send it because it is the defense responsibility, and the appeals court had to tell them, no, you sent it to us. And then, apparently, here we are. Less than 22nd, a month from oral arguments. They have to tell that same fucking court clerk, stop fucking around. Because as I read this, now I'm slightly biased, you might have noticed. This is contempt of court area.
This is about as you will get the effing documents on my effing desk as a court document's going to get. This is about as close to a tapestry of profanity as a court document is going to get.
So, and thank you to Delphi Docs for posting this about 20 minutes ago.
So, Nick, did I hear you say the woman who gave y'all so much trouble in getting the information y'all needed, with the appellate coming up, this vindictive piece of crap is doing it again with the appellate less than a month away? Are you kidding me?
This almost seems like a tactic to get it postponed. Because they know all of us have already planned to be there on September 21st. This almost seems like a tactic.
We can't have that.
But the court, the court is not going to reward bad behavior with what they want. At least I wouldn't as a jurist. I would say, oh, hell no. You will be here. If you're not ready, we will pack a toothbrush and bring your court clerk and have them pack a toothbrush. If I don't have an uncorrupt file by the time, pack your toothbrushes.
Yeah. For fuck's sake. For the actual
hold up, wasn't Richard Allen convicted 3 years ago? Or 2 years ago, however long it was?
No, the trial was in October 2024. Because me and Mo went there in August of 2024 when I did my cross-country road trip.
So it's been 2 years, and you telling me this woman still ain't got them documents? Like y'all say, this is pure coercion, however you say it. This is corruption at its finest. This is injustice. And that's I don't get how everybody around the world ain't making noise about this. This should be bigger than anything right now.
Yeah, and just the fact that the appeals court gave them each 30 minutes, not the usual 20, but 30 minutes to argue, tells me this is good. My interpretation of it is that this is good for the appellant, Rick Allen and his appeals attorneys. Because if they approve, because the filings in themselves are within reason. Usually 20 minutes, fuck off. 30 minutes, my interpretation, I don't know if this is the actual rule in Indiana, is the defense goes first, usually. Then the prosecution, because the defense has the burden of proof. Then the prosecution, and then the defense gets a rebuttal. This here seems with 30 minutes each is defense, state, defense, state trying to explain themselves, and then a rebuttal.
What I interpret it as is these judges are interested. Something doesn't make sense to them.
Yeah.
And what the state should be terrified is that the judges are interested. They want to know more. If you are trying to pull off this grand collusion, this is the worst possible of all realities. You have competent jurists who are going to be looking at your work, and they want to know more. They want to hear you defend what you have done. And they're grasping at straws. Again, this is the worst of all possible worlds for them. The fact that not only is the appellate court interested, but they're very interested, and they want answers. They want to dig in deeper.
Yeah, because some of these appellate, the issues here, which the appeals attorneys has brought up, are pure constitutional. And some of the appellate issues here, the only answer the state has is harmless error. And
the state says a harmless error.
Yeah, I mean, I read through the appeals briefs some time ago, and because the appeals brief is first filed by Rick Allen's attorneys, then the state has to file a reply to it. And in that reply, several of these issues, the only argument was harmless error. And that is, according to people who work with law in Indiana, that's the last resort.
Mr. Starow.
That is
Mr. Starow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, sir, but
no worries.
Like you just said that they said these was like some simple errors. Like, am I hearing this correctly? Simple errors when a man got 130 freaking years in prison. You stupid bastards.
Yeah.
This is a simple error to you, ignorant ass.
No, not simple error. Harmless means that
harmless. Harmless. That's what you said. Yeah. This is a harmless freaking error to you, stupid people.
Yeah,
like Jerry Holman, you turkey gobbler neck piece of shit, you.
Oh, I was going to say R4R had to go to promote other places. I was going to let them say goodbye, but harmless doesn't mean it's a term of art, so it doesn't.
Come back in.
Yeah, no worries. No, please.
Well, no, you can go ahead. I'm just a pretend lawyer.
Well, technically, because this is something the haters have said, oh, you claim to be a lawyer. No, I'm a jurist. Not a lawyer. I'm a jurist.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I missed what you said. I missed what you said.
So
harmless error is the state acknowledging that, it was a mistake, but it wouldn't have changed anything regarding the outcome of the trial.
So harmless error would be
harmless error.
Like, okay, we admit that the bullet wasn't found on Friday. It was found on Saturday. But given even that date is wrong, would the jury have taken into account the difference of the day, saying nothing else changes about everything else you know about the trial? It just happened on a different day and there was a slight error on one of the reports. Yes, it's an error in documentation. No, it shouldn't happen, but it would be considered a harmless error. It wasn't, intentional. No one intended to mislead anyone, but it did happen.
Yeah. And in this case, some of the things that they call harmless error are actually major errors, but they don't have case law to lean on. There's no case in the history of Indiana that says, for instance, one of the issues, trying to recall here, Yeah, regarding what was it?
I'm drawing a
fuck.
blank. It's
I'm drawing.
late
I
in
mean,
a
everything
Friday.
to me is bullshit from the state here. But for instance, if for instance, the bullet that the Judge Gull denied an expert, a world-renowned expert, to talk about the metallurgy surrounding this, and they don't have an actual reply. They said, yeah, she might have made that mistake, but they did call another witness, so it's a harmless error. Fuck no, because the difference is that the expert the defense wanted to call was the person who challenged the science altogether. Now they have to settle with the person who says the science is correct but was used wrong. Those are so far between each other.
Because you mean to freaking tell me that these bastards, I mean these sick, evil, twisted mother shut your mouths down there in Delphi Police Department had the audacity to stick their freaking fudge caking chest out and say this was a harmless error?
No. This was not the investigators.
No, these are the lawyers.
Yeah.
These are the people. These are the snakes in the courtroom.
Yeah, not only the lawyers. These are the states who the state, and ultimately, I don't know if the governor is involved or anything like that, but these are supposedly for the state's independent attorneys working for the governor or for the state senate or whatever it is. Those are the people who says, no, the prosecutors in the Delphi, prosecutor McLeland, yeah, he fucked up, but it wouldn't have changed the outcome, so please ignore it. That is harmless error.
You talking about Dickolas?
Yeah.
You talking about that bastard who talked to that abominable snowman built motherfucker in eyebrows, talking about that he think Richard Allen had his come to Jesus moment? You fucking freaking prick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all. You freaking prick.
No,
what you mean?
No, you're bringing a passion to it because sometimes you get so numb to the stupidity of it all that it really takes someone coming in and just losing their ever loving mind to remind you how wrong this is, because you can get a bit numb to it because it just all piles on each other.
Yeah.
No, it just like I don't like that because I'm a God-fearing man, right? And then when you hear this fake Matthew McConaughey looking piece of crap say, do you think he had this come to Jesus, his moment he was sitting in the cell? No, do you think when y'all was in there torturing him and doing the unthinkable to him, him beating his head on the goddamn wall and eating his own feces is when he had his come to moment, when he went absolutely, man, I'm sorry.
No, but I need you to understand the gamble the state did, because you have to imagine that those videos, the state knew that those videos of Rick Allen in the middle of psychoses was going to be it was going to give sympathy to him.
Yeah.
You can't sit in the same room.
Yeah. That is why they only played a select few without sound.
Hold up, give sympathy to who?
Give sympathy to Rick Allen. They knew that even a heart. Well, so if you're the state, you want to downplay this. You have to downplay his psychosis. You cannot let him become sympathetic at all because you're painting him as a monster. So had they been very real about his...
Now, I just remembered one of the harmless error things was the phone calls, where the Judge Gull only admitted one phone call, but the phone call before, when he said, I think I'm losing my mind, and the phone call after is, I don't remember saying that. Those were excluded by Judge Gull.
Say it again, Mr. Starow.
Yeah. There were 3 subsequent phone calls on one specific date, early May, I believe, to his wife. The first phone call was him calling his wife, saying, I'm paraphrasing here, I don't think I can hold on much longer. I think I'm losing my mind and stuff like that. Next call was him calling his wife saying, I did it. In certain words and phrases that maybe I did it, I could have done it, I think I did it, yada, yada, yada. And then the call after was him not even remembering he actually made the previous calls, but the judge only allowed playing one of the calls. And the state, in their infinite wisdom and corruption, they had nothing to say. No, it was, yeah, we know those calls were very close in time and everything. And the judge might have done a mistake by not admitting it, but we don't think it would have changed anything, so it was a harmless error. And I had to change my mouse after reading that, because that my mouse pointy clicky thingy went to pieces.
And I need you guys to again. The state tried to paint this man who had a come to Jesus. What happened to those girls was visceral. Not to get too indelicate, but you basically had to exsanguinate one and then deal with the other. Wait for both of them to have no life in them and then reclothe them and put them everywhere. He didn't talk about
No.
The touch, the feel, the smell, the things that your brain is going to hold on to, because the human brain doesn't record memories when you're in a high stress state the way they normally do. So you're going to hang on to those senses. He didn't confess it was cold, it was wet. I was cold, it was wet.
Yeah.
I was scared.
Rick never, what the state rested on, I saw this van. Now, we do know that the person driving that van, supposedly, was Brad Weber, who
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry because I'm confused now, right? Because Judge Gull said why she wouldn't let that in again. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to understand
it's
how
okay.
a person saying I think I did it, I could have did it, and I can't stop talking because somebody's standing here next to me. Yeah, the hillbilly in Waller, the off-brand Tinky Winky looking broad, right? Like,
Mo, I think you need Ray on your stream because your vocabulary is a bit similar.
He would have been my helper, my greatest. We would have gotten in so much trouble with the Lindsay Clancy trial the last couple of days because the characters on the screen have been remarkably. They've made listening to the evidence remarkably difficult for me. When I'm having to focus not on their face, I'm like, okay, do not look at this. You are a professional presenter, but you have to look at the camera and not look at.
Yeah. But essentially, Judge Gull excluded 2 out of 3 calls and only kept the one that was most damning to Rick. Now, the rule of completion says they have to play all 3.
Mr. Starow, how is that constitutional, Mr. Starow? She just keep the one that's most damaging to him. I need to understand this because I'm getting into this. I'm not a lawyer, y'all. Like I say, I watched a lot of y'all videos. No, but look, I watched a lot of Nick and Drill, Defensive Diaries, All Eyes on Delphi, R&M Productions. Like Classic has put me on to everybody, and I apologize if I missed Keith and Bugs. I have watched everybody, so y'all are the OGs, so y'all know more than me. So I need to understand this, right? Because this right here is hurting my soul to understand how this penguin looking piece of judge, right, could allow that in and not allow the other stuff in. What how's that constitutional, sir?
In Judge Gull's, because she never gave an actual reason, she just excluded it. So without reason, reasoning. She excluded it. She denied the rule of completeness motion from the defense. That in it, if she rules against a rule of completeness, and is later deemed by the appellate court as no, she should have, that denied Rick Allen the right to a proper defense and the right to a fair trial. That is what makes it constitutional.
Rule of completeness of what?
Completeness means that if you play, for instance, let's say you have, in this case, you have prison calls. And if you have subsequent prison calls, you can't just pick, the state can't just pick one there, and one there, and skip the rest. The rule of completeness, if the defense asks for it, says, no, you have to play it all. This was shown several times in the Young Thug Rico trial, where they selectively chose some videos, some phone calls, they cut out in the middle of it, but the rule of completeness made it that the judge had to allow them to play the entirety of it. In the Rick Allen case, these 3 subsequent calls to his wife showed before, during, after, in subsequent order, which should have made it within the rule of completeness. But Judge Gull denied it without reasoning why it should be excluded. She just excluded it.
So okay, Mr. Starow, thank you for telling me about
No
that.
worries. If I can explain it, I will try.
I'm still
I will try.
confused though, because how can you play the whole call and say rule of completeness? Like I'm stunned by that. Like you don't care about the ends, the ifs,
we
ands,
all
were,
are.
and whys?
We all are stunned by Judge Gull's decisions. She made decisions that are. I will give another example of Judge Gull's decisions without an actual hearing or without an actual ruling. She denied all of the Franks motion without a hearing, except after she threw out Rick Allen's defense team and handpicked 2 others. She said, "This transcript, you can have Frank's hearing to the 2 new lawyers." But then the Indiana Supreme Court said, "Oh hell no, we are reinstating the original trial attorneys." And then all of a sudden, she was no longer interested in a hearing on the Franks motions.
And I am so pissed off at the Supreme Court. They knew exactly who Judge Gull was. She was not going to play by the rules by anything other than her own. She is Circe. She is not going to be stopped until someone stops her.
And sadly, I think that the Supreme Court thought that as long as we give these directions, she will correct herself. She never had any intention of correcting herself. Now she's retiring at the end of the year. I know she has health problem, and folks, I do not wish harm or death on Judge Gull. But as I believe it was Oscar Wilde who said it 100 years ago, some obituaries I will read with a smile on my face.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't give a shit about that woman, Nick. I don't give a mother fudge cake about that strong neck, veins popping out 24 inches around, penguin looking. I don't give a shit about her. You know why? Because she didn't give a shit's nick about Richard Allen. So she intentionally, like I said, me being on this for the past couple of months, and thank you, Classic Overthinker. Thank you with everything in me. She intentionally, this is criminal. Right?
Yeah.
And I can't, and like anybody around the world, right? If you think Richard Allen is guilty, you could go suck a elephant sack. That's what you could do.
Yeah, and folks, even if you believe Rick Allen is guilty, you should be furious at the process. Absolutely furious, because if Rick Allen gets a new trial, it will be in front of a new judge who might deem this, oh, fuck no, I'm throwing all of it out. Rick, go home. And if you actually believe that Rick Allen is guilty, that should infuriate you that the state botched this so hard that the person you believe is the actual killer walks home.
Or you should be so upset that it wasn't televised, so that crazy nut jobs like us are still have fertile ground to sow conspiracy theories. You should have wanted the state to have big D energy on this. Again, if the state had the monster, if they had, you have to. This is one of the biggest cases that has happened in Indiana, and the fact that the Flora 4 hasn't gotten the same attention is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But this is one of the biggest cases. This is a national, international case, and they didn't have the big D energy. If I were McClelland and I thought that this was the man, I would say, "Go! We want this televised. We want the revolution televised because we want to show this monster." He would be like Gaston, like, "I got the beast."
But he didn't want that though. McClelland
No,
didn't
because
want that.
they
Holman
didn't
didn't
have
want
big
it.
D energy because they didn't have the right guy.
Yeah.
But they didn't want that though, Miss Mo. They didn't want that. McClelland didn't want that. He on there asking, do you think he had this come to Jesus moment? I thought you had this signed, sealed, and delivered, you prick. And you asking other people, did he have his come to Jesus moment? Like the nerve of this porn star mustache having motherfucker
Also,
cake, man.
Phil Collins called. He would like his entire style from the 80s back. You are not from Miami Vice. And as a person who does the imaginary piano as a stem, fuck you.
Yeah.
I did it first. I'm going full Office Space. I was Michael Bolton first, damn it.
Yeah.
Every time he does an interview, and I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah. Now, folks, it is 2 hours later. All Eyes is about to. All Eyes.
Mr. Starow.
No worries. All Eyes is about to start her stream. So we tried to get somewhat close to the subject, or at least 2017. I think we got sidetracked. Which is not
I want to come on
unusual.
here. I want to do this with y'all all the time because this has been like music to my ears, being able to hear y'all break this down.
Yeah.
Like I understand it, but just to hear people who are deep in it, right? It's different talk. Y'all on a different level.
Yeah. But I will do this 2 more Fridays before I actually travel to Indiana. So next Friday, we will talk more about this case. We will promote the rally for rights, rally for Rick. We will talk more about this case. And folks, I know this stream didn't get the numbers I would have gotten if I talked about Karen Reed. I don't fucking care.
Me either.
Because I would gladly have this discussion with 0 viewers.
Me too.
Because it is this. I'm glad Karen Reed got acquitted. I think that Karen Reed will get win in the civil cases. I believe that Turtleboy will win in the civil cases. But when it comes to things that is of greater importance, this here. Now, if Rick Allen wins because of issues in the appeals court, the things he will win on will be new statutes. Because Superior Court, they don't make statutes, appeals court do. The Rick Allen, in some aspects of the appeal, might be one of these great cases like the Miranda rights, Daubert hearing, Brady violation, and then you will have Rick Allen. That case in one of these great decisions when the court says, no, Superior Court, you went so far over the line of decency, we are pulling back, and we are pulling back hard. But that is for next Friday. Thank you to my
Can I ask you a quick question real quick,
Yeah,
sir?
sure. Yeah.
Do you mind if I play the audio on this tonight? Because I want to go over this conversation, because I want to listen
No. Play
to this again. I just want to play
Oh,
the
I was
audio,
going to say,
sir.
yeah, but it's not my channel. So.
Yeah. No. My channel is the CC by 4 by whatever's whatever. As long as you link, play it.
Yes.
Clip it.
Because I
do whatever you want with it.
Because see, this is what I'm saying. Listening to this, like, I know all of this, but it's layers to this right here. And I ain't even got to, I'm on the mustard seed of the layer. And I know a lot about this case, but just hearing y'all is different. It's just different.
Yeah.
Well,
I remember before trial, I went on Larry's channel, Larry Foreman. We spent an hour talking about this case, and I barely scratched the surface. Because there's so much, there's not just one rabbit hole. It's a whole fucking raid dungeon.
Yeah, I went into the shack rabbit hole because I thought there was something deeper in that. And I do think there was a link for the FBI investigation when the FBI was still in there. But I would desperately love to look at the FBI files because I like to get into the more mindset and why this doesn't make, because none of this makes sense to me. Even if you look at it as a Hollywood script, you wouldn't buy the ticket. It wouldn't hold the suspension of disbelief for you. If you paid $20 to go see this as a movie, and at the end they said Rick Allen done it, you'd be like, the fuck?
Yeah.
You'd be pissed off. You'd want your money back.
Hey, the beautiful Mo, I promise. I said a New York, the biggest movie director in the world couldn't write a script better than. I say that on my show all the time. And the clip out. Oh, I'm sorry. That's it. I'm extra, y'all. Like, cause I'm so into this right now. I could just keep going, but I know All Eyes on Delphine, and we got to get to her. But like, Harmless Era. That's gonna be the name of my show tonight. Harmless Era.
Yeah, I hate that.
It is an affront to the senses and the sensibilities when you realize what they call a harmless error is a man reduced to eating his own waste.
Yeah.
When you break it down and distill it to that, it is an affront to everything that the justice system is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Oh my, and I appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah. And I made this challenge before. Folks, as I said earlier, I did my army training during the Cold War era. I've been trained in how to, in interrogation methods, so I can withstand the interrogation methods. Folks, let me do this. It took the state 6 months to break him by incarcerating him, drugging him, putting him with people who lied about him, who wanted to lie about him. If I used my training on any one of you, I would not give you a week before I would make you confess to the murders of Abby and Libby. That's the training I have. That is how I know what Rick Allen was subjected to for 5 fucking months before he broke.
And notice the linchpin they used, his family. He wouldn't, at those interrogations, he met Holman beat for beat. He's like, I didn't do this. You can fuck you, you know? Now, he should have gotten a lawyer in STFU, but that's beyond the point.
Yeah, but okay, all right. No, I'm sorry, y'all. I get it. But But like the state that Rick was in, how could we think his brain could be thinking like that when he's just trying to do the right thing?
That's how the cops get you, though. You go in thinking that you can talk yourself into innocence, and they have already made you guilty.
Yeah.
Their only job is to get you to confess.
Yeah, because the Miranda rights are everything you can, and anything you say can and will be used against you, not for and against you, only against you. But folks, all eyes are starting now. I saw it. So folks, thank you to Ray. I will see you Sunday. Thank you to Mo. I will see you anytime. Thank you to RVR for being here. On this subject, I will talk to you next Friday. Tomorrow, I'm doing drama. I'm going to talk about JLR, and on Sunday I will be a guest at Race. So
I seen him at the Carmelo Anthony trial. I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah. And thank you to Derek for 150 jewels. Thank myself for gifting 5 memberships, and thank you to After Hours Respawn for 67 jewels. Folks, if you want to support my work, it's always appreciated, never necessary. Thank you, folks. From now, Mr. Jingles is out chasing mice because this week was harvest week.
You got a cash app, Nick?
Oh, I have one cat, and that's enough. I had to because what was it yesterday? So what?
Cash App. He's asking you if you have a Cash App.
I can only have Cash App in the United States. I have PayPal. I have Buy Me a Coffee, and PayPal is pinned in the link.
Well, anybody who got, all right, I'll get it. So, all right.
No worries. I already paid for my trip.
A prop for drama. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the internet, basically. The end, Hamlet.
All right, folks. Thank you to all my guests. Thank you guys for sticking around here. I know this subject is not the most popular out there, but thank you for sticking around. I will see you all tomorrow, Sunday, the rest of the week, and definitely next Friday. I'm going to send you off with Free Rick Allen. Bye-bye.
Down in the shadows where the courthouse stands, a gavel cracks a fading hands. Judge Gould, they whisper with a crooked grin. Played the game where justice don't win. Free Rick Allen, let him go. Chains on the innocent, don't you know? When the truth's been buried and the lies unfold, the fire in the people burns hot and cold.